Hello again, welcome back everyone. LiquorHound here with you, and thank you for joining me once again for another spirit review video. Today we're going to be taking a look at a couple of single malts that are usually pretty readily available, and I think of very high quality and a really nice price to quality ratio. So again, you don't always have to break the bank and get really high age stated single malts in your collection to be happy. Okay, and I think that's what these two are going to showcase. The Glenturret 12-year-old retail price is about $80 on it. Comes in this little blue box. Doesn't look like much in the box, but bottle, pretty nice presentation for $80. Again, it is 12 years old and it is 92 proof. So we're going to take a look at that one because this one, what makes it special is not only is it ex-bourbon matured, but there's also some Oloroso and Pedro Ximenez sherry cask involved in this one. Now the other one we're going to take a look at, much brighter, especially like if I turn this one to the side, you can tell that has some Oloroso and PX sherry influence just because it's starting to get that really darker red hue to it. There's no coloring added, but the Glenglassaugh, look at the color, beautiful. Not only is it a beautiful bottle and box and color scheme, I mean, they really hit a home run with this one. But that's a custom bottle. And this one actually uses a little bit of, I want to say it was ex-bourbon, manzanilla, and what's the other one? Is it some, it's a sherry cask. Yeah, sherry casks. So sherry, manzanilla, and ex-bourbon in this one. Again, not a ton of sherry because the color is just spectacularly golden. But it is 101 proof. 101 proof, and the retail pricing on this one is about 65 to 75, somewhere in there. So it's a little cheaper than the Glenturret, but we're going to taste them both and we're going to see what we think about them. Okay, starting with the Glenturret 12. Because again, 92 proof. Oh, whoa. You know, this one on the nose, when I first gave it that initial inhalation, the first thing it reminds me of is Edredauer. So if you like Edredauer malts, you know, those price points are getting a little high now. I mean, we're looking at 150 for some of those single barrels and expressions. But when you nose this one, it's exactly what it reminds me of. Slightly lower proof because it is only 92, but it is dense with the sherry. Again, figs. I would say call this one I would call like raisins, figs, chocolate, a little bit of plumminess, like a plum, almost like a jam made out of plums. Yeah, a little cinnamon. Ooh, there's some. Ooh, there's not only that plum, there's apples in here. I like that. Almost like a plum and apple jam. All right, let's go ahead and give it a taste. All right, ooh, wow. The spices are very complex. It's not just your typical cinnamon. Oh man. This one reminds me, Indian single malts will give you that kind of spice market aromatic, where it's not just one thing. There might be a little cardamom, a little clove, and anise, and or anise, however you like to say it. This one has that going on. There's a little funkiness to the malt. And what I mean by that is, again, it goes back to kind of like Edredauer or Ben Nevis. They have a little funk flavor. It's almost like a soured fruit, and it kind of reminds me of this one on here. But as far as the actual profile, I would call this one brown sugar maple syrup, pecans, lots of, and I would call this one almost like the candied pecans, right? Like you're thinking pecan pie. That's in here. Then you get that really nice underlying spices, and it's just a combination. It's really hard to pick out exactly which one it is because there's so many in the air. And I'm talking, I mean, there's paprika, there's also this really nice citrus note that's to this one. So it's not just dark and dense with the figs and the plum and there's that citrus note that's laying up on top. And it's almost like the orange ginger. It's orange and ginger together. Candied ginger. Candied ginger and oranges to go on top with those kind of darker sherried fruits. Again, plums, figs, a little bit of that kind of baked apples in there. And then on the back end, you get a little bit of cocoa, a little leather, well, good amount of leather. And the oak is not like dominant. You would think at 12 years, maybe that oak's starting to get kind of heavy. It's really not. But it is leathery on that back end. For $80, that's a really, really nice malt. Now, it loves air, I will say that, because again, I love to get my whiskeys. I'll taste them first, and I'll hopefully get them past the shoulder, and I like to let them breathe. And I do that for a couple reasons. One, because I want to see if it's going to change. You know, if I open a bottle and I love it, and I go out there and I do a review and I tell you, hey, this is amazing, and then you buy it, and then you do the same thing, and then 2 months later it changes, and you're like, it doesn't taste the same. It's not as good. I like to kind of do that research before I shoot my videos. So this one has already been open for a couple months, and it's really kind of, it'll hit a level. They always kind of level off. Well, usually they level off. And this one, really good spot. Drinks great. I can think you could probably go and spend a lot more on other 12-year-olds, big name 12-year-olds, and come away way more disappointed, all right, than you will with this $80 Glenturret 12. The only little slight thing that you need to be aware of is that little soured, almost little fermented fruit note that kind of pops at the front. But again, if you've had Edredauer before and you've kind of picked up that little note, you're going to be fine. Or if you've had Ben Nevis, or you like kind of like some cheeses, that type that have that little rancio tone, you're going to be fine. All right. Now, Glenglassaugh, the Sandend. It tells you on the back that it's named after a crescent beach called the same. But again, this one was in sherry, manzanilla, and I think it was just American oak. Okay. See if I can find that on there. Bourbon, sherry, and manzanilla casks. Okay. 101 proof, 65, maybe $75, okay? Good grief. Oh my goodness. This is a deal. This is a crazy deal. Because this was $65 when I picked it up. And it's just ridiculous. Okay, let's focus. Here we go. Wow, where is this one going? Caramel, cream soda, vanilla. There's like it almost reminds me of pudding on the aromatic. There's spices. I pick up the baking spices, the cinnamon. It's popping a little bit, but it's 101 proof. The fruits tucked in really nice and light. Kind of remind me of, on the nose, apricot, white peach. A spritz of like, I almost call this one like a spritz of maybe a tangerine. But it's very light and fresh. Everything on it is light and fresh. A little bit of moderate oak. But the creaminess to this one is just a home run. Let me see what the tasting notes say on the back of this thing. It had some tasting notes. They say Soft, buttery vanilla ice cream drenched in tropical fruit with chocolate and a touch of sea salt. Let me taste this and tell you exactly what I get. Mm-hmm. Wow. The sea salt's definitely there. But it reminds me, you know what this reminds me of? Is the old Pulteney's. The good old Pulteney's from back in the day. With that brininess, that freshness of fruit. Those old Pulteney's were like that. They were fruit and brine, with just a little peat. And this one is like fruit and brine, and it's got a little peat. And I mean a little peat. Don't get afraid of that. When I say that, you know, a lot of these single malts will use a hint of peat. I mean, Macallan did it for forever back in the day. They always had just a little touch of peat. It's something that you're not going to pick up, and it's not going to hit you like Isla or Ardbeg, like Lafroy, Ardbeg, Cotley, not like that. It's not going to hit you, you know, all in your face. These are just little nuances. But when you get used to those nuances, the second you sense it, you know it's there. All right, here we go. Oh yeah, I'm focusing on the fruits now. The fruits are definitely very similar as described on the nose. White peach, apricot, nectarine is where I go with that one. But that kind of that pudding thing that I was picking up on the nose, that creaminess, and they call it ice cream. Yeah, that's in there with those fruits. There is that buttery nuttiness, almost like as if you had a pan with clarified butter and you put cashews in that butter. That's what I pick up on the mid palate. Does not drink high ABV. It doesn't drink 101. This one drinks 92. I would think it would be about 92 proof. Oh yeah, really nice mouthfeel. Medium, almost medium high viscosity. Both these really solid on the medium high. But this one, that buttery cashew tone, that leads into a little bit of dusting of. It is like a 60% cacao chocolate on the back end. Oak is in there, perfectly balanced. Those two are just perfectly balanced on the finish. And you still get everything you're picking up early laying on top of that. It's beautiful. That's a beautiful malt. Yeah, I mean, not only is it's going to look good on your bar or your shelf or your countertop, yeah, and I almost ditched the box. The box is nice, but no, the beauty is in this bottle and what's inside this bottle. So both of these highlights for me recently without having to spend a ton of money. So if you're out there, go ahead and feel very safe in picking these up. This one's denser, darker, more depth of flavor again, but man, the freshness and just the overall enjoyability of this one, because this one's not going to offend anybody. This one, that little kind of light funk, fruit soured thing up front could offend some people. Not a lot, but a few. So just know that. But again, I hope you enjoyed this video review. And of course, I'm always here to give you straightforward, honest reviews. I don't get these bottles sent to me. I'm not, you know, asking distilleries or anything for any contributions or sponsorships. So again, this whole channel, the whole reason for it is to give you those unbiased opinions. So if you can, please join me over at patreon.com/LiquorHound. But I thank you regardless of platform. I thank each and every one of my viewers. I greatly appreciate y'all. So keep leaving all those great comments and I'll get to them just as soon as I can. Everyone have a great day and cheers.